VinCard Lockset provides more advanced technology, making the industry's most unique and functional locking system even smarter than before. VinCard Locksets are available with both wireless online capabilities and ASA Abloy Hospitality mobile access, so guests can access rooms using smartphone or watch technology via digital access key. Lockset dimensions can be found on the release templates provided by ASA Abloy Hospitality. This is to assure that all cuts are precise and tolerances are not exceeded. Tools required to assemble and mount VinCard Locksets include a Torx T20 driver, a crosshead or Phillips screwdriver, a lid opening tool, and a cylinder fixing tool that is supplied by ASA Abloy Hospitality. Let's identify parts prior to installation. It's important to understand how these parts are described in case spare parts are needed later. VinCard lock cases come in different varieties and handings, so be sure the lock case provided matches the intended installation on the door. Handing is determined by ingress and hinge of the door. For this example in the illustration, observe the hinge and which way the door swings. Varieties of lock cases include ANSI Standard and ANSI ADB with either the deadbolt above or below the latch. For proper closing, the strike must match the type of lock case being installed. Included is the ANSI Standard 4 7/8 inch strike for standard lock cases. Also for the ADB or auto deadbolt lock cases is the curved lip strike. These are also typically 4 7/8 inches, but it includes a curved lip to aid in the trigger that is used to eject the deadbolt once the door closes. The outside front plate is a cover plate placed over the lock case on the edge of the door to have a nice finished look. Lock case screw packs are a bag of screws to fasten the lock case, strike, and outside front plate. These screws come in different varieties to assure that all types of doors and finishes are covered. The typical pack has screws that come in a satin brass or satin chrome finish. Hardware kits include parts necessary to fasten lock sets onto the door. Some of the parts within these kits are based on door dimensions. Parts included in the hardware kit are M5 screws to fasten the lock onto the door, a brass deadbolt spindle to fasten the thumb turn on the inside of the door, a pair of handle retainers to keep the handles level, a complete split spindle for the handles to operate the lock set, a spindle clip to hold the split handle spindle in place, and a battery cartridge. The lock escutcheons can come in different varieties of styles and finishes. Be sure to check and assure the handles match the other doors installed on the property. The outside escutcheon is identified by legacy type cuts on top of the escutcheon plate. This is utilized when applying the LCU and cover on the escutcheon. The inside escutcheon is identified by the thumb turn pre-mounted on the escutcheon plate. The 6334 Lock Control Unit, or LCU, is the reader and controller of the lock set. It has the capability of reading VinCard keycards as well as digital key data from a smartphone if the proper kit is installed. The lock case adapter, or LCA, serves as an interconnection between the LCU, lock case, and battery. A Bluetooth kit is needed when the lock requires the capability of reading digital key data from a smartphone or watch. The kit includes a mounting bracket to hold the Bluetooth or BLE board, a 3-point cable to connect the LCU, BLE board, and LCA, and a metal box used to maintain the fire rating on doors. The Bluetooth board can be identified by its blue coloring on the printed circuit board. Once mounted with the Bluetooth kit, the board will be located on the outside escutcheon for optimum communication performance. An RF in node is required if the lock set is intended to be installed in an online environment. If the property does not have a Vision Line system that supports online functionality, the in node will not be included with the lock set. Today's battery cover kit now comes with an elongated bracket to add an RF online board if intended to be online, now or in the future. Also included is a 3-point connection cable to add on the RF in node board if required. If metal key cylinders are included with the lock set, this allows a mechanical override that will not only retract the latch bolt but also retracts the deadbolt. Please note that if a metal key is used in the lock set, a switch is activated inside the lock case, sending a signal to the LCU to record an event in the lock's audit trail. Before installing a VinCard lock set, best practice is to do some pre-assembly to minimize the time at the door when installing a lock set. To prepare the outside escutcheon, remove the top end cap and LCU mounting screws. Next, fasten the RFID LCU module onto the outside escutcheon. This should snap into place. Carefully pull the cable through the cable leader. Be aware of sharp edges which may damage the cable upon mounting. If the door is prepped for a magstripe lock set, guide the LCU cable through the top of the metal plating and attach the metal plating to the outside escutcheon by reattaching the LCU screws. Note, if the door is prepped for an RFID lock set, the metal plating is not required to be installed. If installing an Assa Abloy Hospitality Mobile Access Kit instead, follow this procedure. Place the BLE board into the plastic mounting bracket included with the BLE fixing kit. It should snap into place. Thread the 3 or 4-point cable through the mobile access metal plating and attach the cable to the BLE board. Thread the LCU cable through the top of the metal plating. Guide the cable, being careful not to pinch the cable. Connect the LCU to the 3 or 4-point cable. When mounting the handle retainer, the spindle from the hardware kit should be used. This aids in the handle retainer being applied to the escutcheon. Insert the spindle through the spindle hole and then into the handle of the outside escutcheon. Be sure to check the rotation arrow embossed on the plastic of the handle retainer to follow the rotation of the handle. Turn the handle down until the hole of the handle retainer is fully open. Push the handle retainer against the escutcheon with both thumbs. This should snap into the hub riveted onto the outside escutcheon, and then remove the spindle. To prepare the inside escutcheon, remove the top end cap if installed. Next, fasten the online bracket on top of the inside escutcheon. This should snap into place. Install the handle retainer. As with the outside escutcheon, the spindle from the hardware kit should be used. Follow the same procedure as the handle retainer for the outside escutcheon. Pre-assemble the LCA by inserting the white connections into the proper holes of the LCA mounting bracket, and lastly, snap the LCA firmly into the bracket. Set the LCA aside to apply connections later. Now that the lock set is pre-assembled, let's complete the installation on the door. Slide the lock case into the door. Attach the lock case using the wood or metal screws from the lock case screw pack. If not installing a metal key cylinder, place the outside front cover over the lock case on the edge of the door. Use the finished outside front screws to fasten the plate onto the door. If installing a cylinder, this plate will be applied later. Next, set the handle spindle. This is done by threading the inside spindle onto the outside spindle. Once fully threaded, back off 3/4 of a turn. Push the spindle through the door from the outside. Make sure the spindle goes through the door so that the hole drilled through the inside spindle is visible. Using the spindle clip from the hardware kit, place the clip through the hole on the inside spindle to secure the handle spindle. There should not be any movement if installed correctly. Locate the deadbolt spindle from the hardware kit. Push the spindle through the door. Mount the outside escutcheon first. Thread the cables through the door. Line up the handle and deadbolt spindles and push the outside escutcheon onto the door. From the inside, thread the online wire, if available, through the online bracket. Hook the online cable in the bracket and connect the online board and snap the online board on the bracket. Place the batteries in the cassette and mount the battery cassette with the batteries facing the bracket. Thread the wire through the online bracket. Mount the inside escutcheon by lining up the handle and deadbolt spindle and push the inside escutcheon onto the door. Use the M5 escutcheon screws to secure the escutcheons. Make the connections to the LCA with the wires pulled from the hole. The connectors are keyed so that they cannot be incorrectly attached. Carefully tuck the wires back into the hole and snap the LCA into the inside escutcheon. Place the battery cover on the Lockset and screw on firmly. If the Lockset includes a cylinder, follow these instructions. Thread the cylinder into the hole in the outside escutcheon. Insert a metal key part way to assist in the threading of the cylinder into the lock until the cylinder is flush with the escutcheon. Position of the keyway is important to its operation. If the latch bolt is below the deadbolt, make sure the keyway is positioned at a 12 o'clock position. If the latch bolt is above the deadbolt, the keyway is positioned at a 6 o'clock position. The cylinder requires to be anchored using a set screw included with the Lockset kit. To apply the set screws so that it is tamper-proof requires the use of a cylinder fixing tool, or by another name, a T-tool. Start by threading the screw into the tool until it stops. Thread the screw using the tool into the outside hole. Once the screw is against the cylinder, test the cylinder by attempting to unthread the cylinder. Once secured, place the Allen wrench included with the cylinder tool and unlock the plug from the set screw by turning counterclockwise. Unscrew the tool from the set screw. Place the outside front plate onto the edge of the door and fasten it with the outside front screws from the lock case screw pack. Before allowing the door to close, make these few checks for proper operation. Use the thumb turn to engage the deadbolt. Use the inside handle and both the latch and deadbolt should retract freely with no binding. Test the cylinder if installed. Make sure the latch bolt can be retracted. Also, make sure the deadbolt can be extended and retracted with the metal key. Make sure no wires are pinched or crimped. Initiate the door if able and test with a keycard for proper electronic operation. And that's it. And thank you for being an Asa Abloy hospitality customer.